I'm probably gonna eat pretzels this entire video. Um, I think, yeah, that's just gonna happen. Um, anyway, so for the most part, lenses tend to fit into 3 categories. You can argue that there's 5, but for the most part, there are only 3 that you really need to know and understand. And those go from wide, normal, and telephoto. And those 3 usually encompass everything. Despite what the title of the video says, there is no wrong way to use a lens. If you want to use a telephoto lens for a portrait, you are more than welcome to do that. But in the world of film and photography, usually there are certain scenarios that you use certain lenses. Wide lenses or wide angle lenses are your 35s to anything underneath that. What I mean by that is 24s, 16s. I've seen 12s, but then after that you start to get into the fisheye and 360 cam lenses. And these lenses are usually used for skylines or landscapes because they're wide and they allow for a lot more depth of field. So more things in focus. Some characteristics of wide lenses when you're watching a video or a movie is that there's some bowing in the corner, some vignetting as well. It distorts the image to a degree. Now, if it's the wider the photo per se, you're not necessarily going to see that around the edges, but if you see in this shot here, you can see that the edges start to bow or the photo is warped because it's a shot on a wide angle lens.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, Essen, what's going on? Like, why are you not all set up with the lights and the whole thing? Because I'm filming this on my phone right now. The reason I'm doing that is because I didn't realize that none of my lenses went wide enough to show the distortion. So I'm using this image, which was taken on my phone. I think it's pretty obvious that it's distorted. And it was shot with the wide angle option on most newer iPhone cameras. And this is a good example of like how wide lenses distort things. So, yeah, I was watching it through and I forgot to put that in there, so.
In movies, a lot of the time when wide angles are used outside of skylines or city shots or landscapes, it's used to kind of offset the scene in a way. I've seen a number of times in movies where because of the warp in if it's using like a more of a medium shot or in like a room or something, it warps things a little bit so that it seems slightly off. So you can achieve different emotions using different lenses. And we'll go into like different, how they feel later or in another video. For these videos, I mostly shoot on regular lenses or normal lenses, which are about 40 millimeters up to about 65, 70. And what a normal lens means is that it's just middle of the road. It's nothing crazy fancy. The focal length doesn't do much to add or take away from the scene, like on its own, now depending on how you use it, obviously it changes. But if I believe I mentioned this in the last video, that the 50 millimeter is the closest lens we have that mimics the human eye. So that's kind of where that normal lens comes from. That focal length will mimic what you're looking at. An idea on how you can use these lenses is you could do somewhat of a eye level shot of a character or something like that, because it emulates what they would be looking at, so you can tie your viewer to the character if you're filming something. Or if you just want kind of like a standard portrait of an object or of a person, the normal lenses are usually your go-to. Last on the list is your telephoto lenses. So that's 75 to however long they get. I mean, I've seen lenses that are like 1600 millimeters, and at that point, I feel like it's a bit unnecessary. But that's just me. If you want to take pictures of the sun, you go right ahead. Not that, you should do that, because it might destroy your camera sensor, but they probably make cameras for that. A great way to remember what telephoto lenses do to an image is there is a scene in The Graduate. I might be able to play a little clip. If not, I will do my best to recreate it. But Dustin Hoffman is running towards the camera, and it seems like he's taking a significantly longer time to get to where the camera is than it would. And that's because the image is flattened. So it seems as though he has to cover much more distance, or that he's not moving on, I guess, the Z plane of the image. And for a more commercial usage, they are used for animal photos and other wildlife, and a lot of sports photography. It's anything that you can't get up close to and take the image. So if you wanted to use them for cars, you could as well, like at a racetrack of some kind. These are some examples of different focal lengths with the same image. As you can see, they all look similar, but the characteristics of what focal length you are shooting will somewhat change the image depending. And then also it changes how close the subject is to the lens, and what type of lens that is will distort or manipulate or change how that person or object looks in the final image. This video might be kind of shorter, but I really appreciate everybody watching, and I just want to say thank you for all the views that my last video gotten. The Anything Can Be a Netflix Documentary video did way better than I originally thought it was going to, so I really can't thank you enough for that. And we just hit 20 subscribers like a few days ago, so that's awesome. And I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for the support and the love on these videos. It's great, and I'm really happy to be able to do this. So thank you for watching. Make sure, if this video helped you in any way, to like and subscribe and all that. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you. That's all I got. I don't really know how to end these yet. You like that? Huh? You like that?